Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines with me, Pug Gaming. So the last episode we spent quite a lot of time mapping out a bit of detail here and there. I've spent a bit of time off camera as well, just getting some more roads down just to make things the sort of size I'm hoping for this town to end up being. Obviously those wind turbines you can see in the backgrounds will not be staying, it's just there so I can work on the town, whilst the power is flowing through. So these clips here just show you where I'm at basically in terms of the city itself. I like the housing selection. I've decided to choose a few different variants, so I've gone for some semi-detached and detached houses and also the more traditional terraced areas. So there is a few zones which are different to one another, just to bring out the area, I guess, of each. So here we can see glimpses now of some of the detail I've done in the last video, but also in the background there you can see the final part of the area, which will be the final housing estates for this town. The next mission as well is going to be connecting these farmlands up to the edge of this new town. I want this all to flow into one. I don't want it to look like there's a big gap. Here's a better view now. You can see all the new area. So we've got a roundabout type-esque bit in the middle here, some houses off of that, and I've done a few little areas here. So this is going to be a little village here, and so too here, with fields in between. So it's just going to create a flow of this area rather than sections. I want this all to flow into one. So we're going to jump into a time lapse now whilst I map the field areas up to match the new area, and we'll catch up in a sec. So as you can see from this view now, we're complete in terms of the fields, catching up the edge of this new town. And now we're going to jump into another time lapse of some detailing on the train station. jump in here whilst the time lapse still plays. So in this area here, I wanted to create a school area. Obviously we need to add a few schools in here to get the housing educations up, so I thought I'd use this little area here to add a little preschool and a college, and having this gap here I wanted to create some sort of a park, but I like the look of this basketball court, so I decided to put this in here. And that building to the left of the basketball court is actually a scout hut, and that's something you do regularly see, certainly in these sort of areas in Britain. So I was trying to think of a way to make this look a little bit more pretty, so put some hedges around, some trees, but I wanted to get something done in this school area as well. I wanted to make this into a sort of a park in between the two schools, somewhere where perhaps parents can hang out whilst their kids are at school, and I did find some really nice props on the workshop here, and I wanted to create a sort of couple of flower beds. These flowers are really good and really pretty. Up close they look a lot better than they do from distance, I must admit. From this view they don't look as good as they do when you zoom up close, but I'll have a look and see what else I can find in the workshop. But I wanted to certainly have a pretty sort of area here just to capitalise against the number of houses that are in this housing estate. Now, one thing you've heard me complain about before is the schools and the fact they don't have any field assets on there, which might be a good idea, or a good thing even, because I do enjoy adding the sort of school fields and sort of props around the schools themselves. But it would be good if someone designed an actual school with a nice sort of playing field to either attach on or be part of it. And I thought of a cool little idea here. Using the prop line tool, I thought if I can use the road markings, I can create a little school football ground here. I know I can't do the semicircle or so, but I think that came out quite nicely actually. So here's the final take on the school playing ground. I've got a few benches in, and I'm really pleased with how this came across. I might add a few more little assets in the future, but schools generally don't look pretty in terms of their actual gardens themselves or their grounds. They are for the kids to run around and play with, really, so I don't think too much needs to be done there. This little park I think works really well. I put a little toilet in the background as well there, just to make it seem more like a sort of park that people will be attending quite regularly. And I do like these houses, they do look really good. But this little path in between two areas here, couldn't think anything else to do with that. I do like these flats, they do look really good, and they do look quite British actually, especially this one here. So all this foliage I've added, I found some really nice props again on the workshop for long grass. Some daisies down there as well. So this area here is full of the long grass. You'd have seen me put some of those in before in the last episode for the train line, and I think it does come across quite well. This train station I'm thinking about changing. There's been a few people comment about that. It doesn't look quite British, and I do agree. I just like the fact it had the two train lines. So we'll have a look at this and the props. And certainly one thing I do like is the introduction of these stones over the train track. I'm not going to go bizarre with it all, but I think that looks really well. So guys, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. All the best.